I'm just tired, man. I did C2E2 today. Um,
Oh shit, nice. Okay.
so I did that today. Did a lot of just walking around, getting a lot of stuff, supporting a lot of, trying to support as many indie people as I could. Bought a lot of stuff from different booths and stuff like that. But it was nice. And C2E2, it's basically like a Comic Con here in Chicago. It's one of like the major ones you can go to in probably like North America. Comic Con, of course, the big one is still San Diego Comic Con. That's the tippy top big one that you can go to. But C2E2 is maybe behind San Diego Comic Con and maybe like a New York Comic Con. It's like maybe third. As somebody was telling
Yeah.
me. I picked up some cool stuff. They got a portrait done of myself, so that was pretty nice. Somebody
Okay.
did a little mini sketch of me as well. That was pretty good. And yeah, talked to a lot of indie comic creators. Got a bunch of cards, so maybe I'll be reaching out to them. Maybe if they want to come on, do an interview, something like that. Maybe come on the show. So try to do a little bit of networking while they. I didn't tell them I had a podcast, but just got their card, with their social media, emails on it, things like that. So maybe reaching out and doing a lot of that stuff. So that was pretty good. I saw a lot of good costumes while I was there. It's always fun thing to go see at the conventions. There's a lot of people who have all that creativity, to dress up and everything like that. And I saw a lot of good ones. There was like a discount Thanos there. He had like a sign over
Nice.
his neck, and you know what I mean. He had like like a dishwashing glove with what I mean, with some kind of what do you call those things that you used to kind of suck on when you were a kid? The ring pops. What was the name of those?
Oh yeah, ring pops. Yeah.
Ring pop. Yeah. So he had kind of some of those on there. So that was
Nice.
fun. You know what I mean. So it was fun costumes. A lot of that was good there. So yeah, it was nice. I took a picture with CM Punk. He was there. I took a picture with him.
Oh, best in the world. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I think around the time when he was wrestling, it's like about towards the middle of his tenure. That's when I stopped watching wrestling. Because I really stopped actively watching wrestling when I was maybe 13, 15. Because I think I stopped maybe a little bit after Eddie Guerrero died. It's kind of maybe I kept on maybe a couple of years or a year or so after that, but then yeah, after Eddie Guerrero died is pretty much when I kind of lost interest. I know you still keep up with it, don't you?
Yeah, because he's actually in AEW now. He's injured right now, but he's supposed to be back here at some point. But he's actually AEW champion right now. But yeah, man, I've been a huge fan of Punk since Ring of Honor, so that would have been oh god, like early 2000s. Um, I'm a huge fan of CM Punk, so I envy you greatly that you're able to get it. I actually just ordered his sweatshirt last night. That's really funny that you that you brought him up, but
Mm.
uh, yeah, huge fan of his, and I, I'm so happy you're able to go to a con, man, because like I'm slowly starting to get back out there with evil COVID and fires and all the other shit that's in the world right now. But I miss cons, and it's always cool to see that creativity. So I'm happy you had such a fun time, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I picked it. I spent definitely my wallet wasn't too happy about it, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean. It's the first time I've ever done it before, so that was a thing. And I
Oh,
did.
really?
Huh?
Was that your first con ever? Or
Yeah. I believe yeah, it was my first con ever. Yeah.
wow, okay, that's even. Oh yeah, dude, your first con, you spent some money. I mean, any con, but especially your first con.
Yeah. And then, but I did also drop quite a bit of bread when I went to Lala as well. I did drop quite a bit of bread there. Went to Lala last week. Yeah, I saw Green Day. I did Denzel Curry, Charlie XCX, and Banks was there. And
Okay.
yeah. So I did only one day with Lala, just like how I did one day. I'm only did one day with C2E2, which was this Friday. This Saturday and Sunday, I got some other stuff kind of going on, which is why I can't go. But I was talking to some people who also went, who I went with. And they said typically you would want to do the second day. That's when stuff really pops off. Is the second day.
Yeah.
The first and last day are kind of like well, the last day is pretty good because they're trying to sell all that stuff, so they may probably give you some discounts on it. And Friday is kind of just like there's not as many people, maybe there. But Saturday and Sunday is when things really kick off and a lot more people come. So and everything like that. So it's nice. I was kind of disappointed because tomorrow is when Sasha Banks comes. I wanted to get a picture with Sasha Banks, but she
Ah,
comes the
the
next day.
boss.
But Trish Stratus and Lita, they were there though today, and
Oh
Mick
man, I would
Foley.
have passed out in front of Stratus. Well,
You don't like Trish Stratus?
oh no, I was just saying I would have passed out in front of Stratus. I would have been like, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah. I didn't see I
because
didn't see her up
woo,
close.
yeah,
Because they were doing like she was doing a bunch. There was like a line to say about. I was like, I don't know. I'm not a big Trish Stratus guy personally. I don't know. I was like,
now let me be clear. If I had to if I had to shoot my shot, I'd go up to Lita first. But but Trish is 40, I think like 42 or something like that. And I appreciate anyone who actually get out of pro wrestling because who actually stops fucking wrestling anymore.
mm,
But I mean, she's turned her into a hell of a career with like her yoga and all that. Like, I actually respect people who can spin into something else athletically, post pro wrestling, and she's been a hell of an ambassador just for women's wrestling. I mean, her and Lita. So
yeah,
I'm fans of both of theirs. But um, yeah, damn, I haven't been to Chicago. I haven't been to Chicago yet. That's gonna be a trip at some point because yeah, every artist musically comes through Chicago. I mean, you have the cons and all that there. Yeah, but that's really damn man. I interviewed for that, but I'm happy you got to. I mean, we should got to go one day, cause like going through a con for a whole weekend's kind of exhausting, to be honest.
yeah,
As someone who's done it, but even if you just go that first night, at least you get kind of a idea of what you're getting into. I would suggest next time, yeah, if you can make it for that second day and get more of a full, um, insane experience, because yeah, that Saturday is always kind of a little overwhelming. But you should try to do that once though, because it's fun.
yeah, yeah. And no disrespect to Trish Stratus or Lita or anything like that. Pioneers when it comes to women in wrestling for sure. I mean, they were hugely influential. Just like when I was really growing up, like the woman wrestlers, like I really liked Mickey James was always a big person with me growing up. It's
Same.
Mickey James, who still looks amazing. Her and Trish Stratus
She
both
does.
still look really amazing. Lita still looks really amazing. Trish Stratus 46 by the way, 46.
Is she? Damn, good for her. So.
Yeah, 46. Still very much in great shape and everything. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, Mickey James too. She's still wrestling.
how is she? Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
She actually wrestled on occasion for Impact Wrestling. She was their champion like 8 months ago, and she's wrestling in the NWA now. She's married to Nick Aldis, former NWA champion, lucky bastard. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mickey James. Yeah, Mickey James is like producing women's wrestling now. Like, she's another person who goes very under the radar for what she did for women's wrestling. Like Mickey James is a hell of a wrestler. Can actually sing too, which is like, oh, good for you. Like, yeah, I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I'd suggest to people who've never been to a con before, give it a chance. You know what I mean? Like you said, going all 3 days, it can get exhausting because it's a lot of walking around, a lot of, what I mean, just a lot of people. Sometimes it's just too much. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, this is a lot. But yeah, I mean, constantly I was just kind of going in circles, dipping, diving, trying to see everything as I possibly could, try to meet all the people I possibly could. I did see Chris Claremont. I wanted to get his autograph,
Oh damn!
but I waited in line, got to the table, and then got to where I was about to go meet him, and then he was like, "Oh, by the way, it's cash only, no card." I'm like, "What the fuck?" You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's
You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Ah, fuck!" I just waited in this line for this amount of time. It wasn't like a super long line, but I'm like, "Ah, shit."
it
And there,
isn't long enough to be inconvenience though.
yeah, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, there was ATMs there, but I'm like, why don't you have Cash App or PayPal or Venmo or
You
like one
would
of those
think
card
that,
machines? Like, why don't you have one of those things?
yeah, you would think there would be like for a con that big, really for any con at this point, that they would have like on a major scale that they would not have just Apple Pay or something like that that you could utilize. That's weird.
Yeah, it's like, how do you? I mean, how do you not have any of those things? You know what I mean? Like, I get, you know what I mean, but that was like, that just really blew me. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? But yeah, because I really wanted, Chris Claremont. If you watch stuff of the X Men, usually it's from his golden run of the X Men. It's like the X Men the animated series, all that stuff. All that stuff you kind of most notably is associated with X Men. He wrote and he did during his run. So very famous comic book writer Chris Claremont is, and his work on things like X Men. So that was kind of neat, kind of well, just seeing him anyway. That was kind of that was kind of neat. Yeah. What was the last convention you've been to, man?
Oh God, it's been maybe 6 years because I went to like the we had a Reno Comic Con out here, so I went to that for a day, and that was actually pretty fun. Reno obviously being a smaller city, but we had some people coming from Vegas and Cali and stuff like that. But yeah, that was actually pretty fun. I only went for like half a day, but yeah, I got to see some cool costumes and all that. Like Reno's becoming one of those cities that's kind of almost trying to be like a smaller Austin. Like it's kind of starting to get to that level
Mm.
where, we have a couple film festivals out here now and some stuff like that. But unfortunately, we haven't had a con really since lockdown. Maybe like a year prior to that. So um, I think in 2023 you'll probably see more of you will see more of a resurgence for cons because hopefully we're in a place where things are a little safer and gas isn't $9 a gallon. Come on, Biden. Uh, but uh, but I think you're gonna see a lot more cons next year, and I definitely do look forward to going because
Yeah.
I haven't been to one in a while and I miss it. But
Yeah. I was talking to the guy that was doing my portrait there, and I was talking about he's talking about doing these conventions. He's been doing them for years and years, and how COVID really messed things up. And I was like, well, do you think like with this new monkeypox situation, do you think it's gonna kind of be a similar thing when they start like shutting stuff down? And he's like, nah, I don't think so. He was just like, I think it has to be like super AIDS or something like that. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna have to like
yeah,
just breathe in the air and die for them to shut down all that stuff again like that. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I don't think that's happening anymore. I mean, do you think like monkeypox will reach that level?
I'm just I'm so sad that we even have to have this fucking conversation because when you hear it, you're like it's almost like a cartoon, like really monkeypox in 2022, and yet here we are where there's a couple places where it's been a thing. Like it's just like God damn it, like can't why can't humanity catch a break? So I'm gonna say no, but I also when COVID was a thing initially, I remember being like, oh, this will be a couple month thing, um, and then that ended up not being the case. But I think we'll be okay. I people just don't be assholes. Like don't cough on people, don't sneeze on people. I see that shit still because I'm still wearing my mask because
Hmm.
COVID. And the amount of people I've seen sneeze around produce and shit, I'm just like, y'all,
Ooh.
I'm like, you are
Jeez.
fucking up the program. Like, this is why this shit won't go away because they're being inconsiderate as fuck. So, I don't think it'll be a thing personally. I think in 2023, I think things will be a little safer. I think people will be a little more at ease. I think the boosters are going to be here for you know, a while. Like I think it might just become something you do with your flu shot, honestly. Um, yeah, I think in 2023, I think theaters are going to kind of start to open up more and have more, availability. I think cons are going to feel a little more um, okay
Hmm.
with opening things up to the public. I think the first thing is going to be I think you are gonna have to be vaccinated. I think that's gonna be a thing for a lot of cons because, especially if you're in California, I think they're gonna go like, "Yep, damn that, we're not dealing with whatever the fuck else could potentially happen." So, I think you're gonna see a lot of that. But honestly, that would make me fucking feel better. Like if you have to be vaccinated or boosted to get into a con or something like that, I'd go like, "Oh yeah, that's great. Please do that." But I think you're going to see a lot more of that next year. But I think cons are going to start coming back.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess, and also like speaking of like about people going and about there being a lot of people. Um, it didn't smell bad. I was, you know what I mean. I think like when I was reading the C2E2, like there is like on the like in the information in it. If you go to the page on the website, they actually say like, well, hey, guys, don't forget. Always remember, wear deodorant. Stay fresh as much as you can. It's like wow, they really have to tell people to advise them to wear deodorant. I didn't, like wow, it's
It's yeah, that's a thing, man.
but it did smell bad at all. You know what I mean? I just was shocked that I was looking at the website and I actually had to inform people like, hey, just in case, wear some deodorant. Just to remind yourself. It gets hot. People you're walking around. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of another good thing. Maybe Saturday, it's maybe gonna be rougher.
Saturday would have been worse because that's where everyone has like gotten in, or people have gotten in like at midnight or whatever. And yeah, Saturdays are rough. And my first con I remember smelled that was like that was like when you're like you go to your first locker room when you're like 12, like in middle school or whatever, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like that was the reaction I remember having. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of smells here. And there are people wearing, some of the costumes are like fucking leather and fur and all that shit, and so you've got all these different materials and stuff mixing, and it's yeah, sometimes that shit got a little rough. But um weirdly, I think social media kind of helped with that because people were like, "Look, y'all, if you're gonna be, coming to Hall H or doing a cosplay competition, please make sure you don't smell like ass." So it's
Yeah.
actually, I think it's less of a thing than it was, you know, 10 years ago. But unfortunately, there's still people who are, inconsiderate and don't shower.
Hmm.
Yeah, please shower before you go to the floor. Like you owe that to your fellow nerds. Don't put them out like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Always remember, maybe put on some cologne if you can. You know what I mean? Maybe do a little of
Yeah,
that.
like they sell they sell travel size shit. Like you can put that in your costume easily. Like most costumes have pockets. You can do this shit, or you can just carry it with you. It's fine. Just spend the $3.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
And it's funny, seeing, also it's a good experience, seeing, black people in the space and seeing them, cosplay and seeing other black creators. And then you see kind of a lot of the black nerds there. A lot of them do have that look. You know what I mean? A lot of them do have that definite
Yeah.
look. You know what I mean? I saw one which you can tell. You know what I mean? Maybe he's a white person's best friend. You know what I mean? Like what I mean? That's my black best friend type look. Like exactly had the beanie with the flannel shirt with the gray shirt underneath. Jean. I'm like, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, that's wow, that kind of that look. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, but it's nice seeing that, you know what I mean, just geeking out like that, and kind of that space. So that's
It's
nice.
just nice to see this shit celebrated and not because I mean we're gonna get into the DC shit in a bit, which I have plenty to say on that shit. But it's just nice to see nerds uh embracing shit, and I think that's something especially now that's one of the few good things about social media is
Mm.
that if you're a nerd in their 30s like I am, it's people are celebrating that shit of you buying yourself a cosplay costume or buying yourself that special comic or whatever. When I was a kid back in my day, that shit was ridiculed and mocked and all that. But now that shit's celebrated. People are like, oh fuck yeah, where'd you get this from? Like it's a cool thing, man. It's a cool thing to see people celebrate in space like that.
Hey, thank you for the raid there, Chill. Raid with the party of four. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, like you said, it's great to be celebrated. It's nice to see that, and everything like that. Hey, Terry Thompson, how's it doing there? How's it going there, man? And much appreciated you stopping by. Hey, Javon, good, yeah. Thank you guys. But yeah, like you said, it's great to see that. And I had a good time, and seeing like there was, like a black woman. She was Gwen Stacy. She was a great Gwen. She looked great. You know what I mean? She had the costume really nice. You know what I mean? Really nice done. Hey, how's it going there, Nick? How's it doing? How's it going there, man? Um,
Hi, Nick. I'm doing your job better. Um,
yeah, you know what I mean. Nick's been replaced. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, what's up, Nick?
Got somebody a little bit darker. You know,
Right, exactly.